On this episode of XYZ, Jordo finally watches all 10 nominees for this year's Academy Awards. He ranks them with BDC.
Hey, what's up, BDC? How are you doing?
Jordo. I missed you last week. It was really
Yeah,
tough to do a show without you.
yeah, barely had enough content for 10 minutes.
It was called a pop culture mini or whatever. Give me a
Yeah,
break.
sure.
I don't know. I bet
Okay.
we could talk to someone out there or like some of our friends and they wouldn't be able to talk for 15 minutes about random stuff.
That's true. You are really good at talking nonstop. It's it's a gift.
Yeah.
That's
And
maybe
a
I'm
curse.
surprised. Maybe I'm surprised more than like disappointed because I
Hey,
thought you could have gone for an hour.
I think if I were talking about my mom or something, or talk about my childhood, I could easily.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
something personal.
yeah, but this is not for personal. I'll leave that for another show.
Fair enough.
How?
Speaking of
Hey, where?
something
Hey, wait,
that's
wait, wait. Hold on. Where
oh,
were you last week? Why'd you ditch the show?
oh, why I ditched? Well, I was busy at because I bought tickets to finish seeing all the Best Picture nominees.
Oh, see that's what I thought, and that's what I mentioned to the listeners when we were doing the Lonely Show. I said you were out there living life, finishing up the list for today.
Yeah, so I have now seen all 10 Best Picture nominees for the Oscars, which is coming up next week, by the way.
That's impressive. You know what's funny? I knew a friend who went to the movies and the theater was showing like four out of the 10 Best Picture nominees, and he chose Captain America. And he was very disappointed.
I don't even want to talk about that movie today. We can talk Marvel at a later date. Anyway,
All right, let's go.
so first I want to preface that yes, the Oscars are coming up, but what happened just now tonight was the last sort of landmark awards before the Oscars.
Like a movie dipstick to test kind of gauge what the temperature is for the
Yeah,
academies.
like the previews. We started the year off with the Golden Globes, and then you get into Critics' Choice, and then the British have their own special thing because, of course, they do because they're the British.
BAFTA, right?
And BAFTA, very
Yeah.
good. And then tonight was a Screen Actors Guild Award, and this is an award show that when Everything Everywhere All at Once won a couple years ago,
Great film.
I should have known from that it would lead to an Oscar win.
How'd you miss it?
I honestly, so here's the thing about Best Picture winners. They don't normally come out in the spring, like Everything Everywhere All at Once did. And for some reason, it just kept riding high and high. And part of me was a little biased because Spielberg is getting up there in age, and his last movie that came out in that same year, The Fablemans, told a very personal story. It was a fictional story, quote unquote, but it pretty much matched his childhood
It's like
and his
loosely
story.
based on his life, right?
Yeah, instead of the Spielbergs, it was called The Fablemans.
Oh, okay.
And so,
So it's still Jewish sounding.
yeah, and they
Yeah.
are Jewish in the movie,
Uh,
but
I would like to add one of the things I saw this documentary about Steven Spielberg back when the
mm,
miniseries Band of Brothers came out, where Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg came together to do like their depiction of Easy Company from World War II, and there was little he had clips from little Spielberg's movie videos from his like from when he was a child, and he showed how when he was a kid he was able to make explosions just by making like a little seesaw apparatus on the ground with like a stick and then like a pipe, and then he would put mound of dirt on it. So as he's running with his fake toy guns, he would step on it and it would explode behind him. Like that
Oh,
guy, yeah, he already had that, like the vision for all this.
you see some of that stuff in his movie too, The Fablemans. It's
Oh,
really
so
cool.
oh yeah, so it was like authentic, very authentic then.
Yeah, and there's a scene, I don't want to get too much into this because we got to move on,
Yeah,
but he would poke holes in the film because he would film it on little tiny film,
yeah.
and he'd poke holes in it because he liked to film westerns. He was a fan of John Ford, but when the guns would fire, he'd poke a hole in the gun just so it would kind of flash
Well,
and make it look like the guns were
amazing.
firing.
That's a gifted person.
Hmm.
Just amazing. They saw like he saw the Matrix. Like he saw things that normal people didn't see. But yeah,
Yeah,
totally awesome. I haven't seen the Fablemans, but I've seen the documentaries and old footage of little Steven Spielberg making film and
yeah,
just talking about how he got into directing. So
yeah. But the point I wanted to make is that I based that off of what happened at the Golden Globes.
okay,
I didn't know about the Screen Actors Guild being important, Critics' Choice being important, all the other DJ, DAGs, DGA, whatever, PGA, right? And so
hmm,
tonight's results are very interesting because there's a particular movie that has been on a tear. Can you guess what movie that is?
okay. Let me see. Let me look at the list that's been on a tear, and it's. Can I get two choices?
Sure.
Okay. The first
Um,
one I'm thinking that in terms of tear, it's either Honora
mhm.
or Amelia Perez.
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, Amelia Perez is spiraling downward.
Oh, really?
Like
Because of the recent controversy, like
that,
getting canceled from past tweets.
that's kind of what it feels like.
You went full
The,
Kanye West, or
not full Kanye, more like a 10% Kanye, which is a lot in itself. But in any case,
no, no. But why is it
it's
spiraling though? Is it really just that?
I think that too. I think the the people that vote for these other awards are different than the Golden Globe voters.
Yeah.
And for the Oscars, I don't know if I mentioned this to you before, but it's more of like a preferential ballot. So it kind of floats. You could say the best movie to the top because let's say you vote for, I don't know, Wicked as your number one, but not a lot of people vote Wicked. So then it goes, they scratch off your number one on your ballot and they go to your number two. And your number two could be something like Amelia Perez or Nora or The Brutalist.
Hmm.
And they would just keep doing that to all the ballots until they hit a majority.
Hmm. I think of all the footage though I've seen of Amelia Perez, every scene that Zoe Saldana was in, she was awesome.
She
I
is a
thought,
lock for best supporting actress,
yeah,
hands
okay,
down.
because yeah,
I
I
feel
thought
bad
she's
because
strong.
Ariana Grande did a great job in Wicked. I know you haven't seen that, but
I
it's
know I haven't.
so it's really competitive between those two, and I would say that yeah, it's just a bummer, but Zoe Saldana deserved it. So anyway, you're
Harried,
wrong. It's not
harried.
Honora,
Okay,
and it's not Amelia Perez.
okay,
It
stop,
is
stop, 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 stop. I want to choose this. Uh, it is. If I get this wrong, I get one more guess.
no,
The next, it's the brutalist.
no,
Okay, last guess, last guess. The substance.
no.
What? What
You're
else is
making
there?
yourself look worse. Stop.
Oh no,
It's
hold on, hold on.
Conclave. Conclave.
Whoa, the what? Oh man, that's awesome.
See, that reaction was worth it more than you randomly guessing all 10.
No, that's a shock because it doesn't have something to do with the recent news of the Pope having pneumonia, and so
No,
oh
no,
okay.
the voting happened like a month ago.
Oh dang.
But no, it first of all, it won not only because the British they do a very British thing where they have best British film
Yeah.
and then best picture. Because see, in the Oscars, we don't have that for like best American film and best picture. We just have the best picture, best animated, best international, etc.
Hmm.
But the British at BAFTA voted it for best British picture and best picture overall.
Hmm.
So it had that going for it. And now it's looking over here, and it's won Best Ensemble at the Screen Actors Guild.
Well, yeah, I mean, I see all. I mean, it is a powerhouse ensemble.
A lot of veterans.
Yeah. No, no, I'm taking a look. You know, you got Ray Fiennes, that
John
guy,
Lithgow,
John Lithgow, and then also the dude from Hunger Games.
Stanley Tucci,
Gucci, so good. No,
and
it's crazy, and they look the part. Like I'm just looking at images from, and they look so believable.
yeah, and even the Italian guys like that villain from Narnia, Prince Caspian, like
Yeah.
it's good. And
No.
Isabella Rossellini,
Oh,
you know.
geez, classic, classic
So
actress.
that is something to keep your eye out for because again, I'm going to share my top 10 of the 10 nominees coming up, but I want to say that my two front runners after this is Conclave and Honora.
If you were to score Conclave, what would you give it? Because I just on the like I said, just on the imagery, I feel like I would totally be into it. And I saw it on Fandango. I may watch it before the Oscars because I really love Ray Fiennes. But
I'll
go
tell you
ahead.
later. I'll tell you later.
No, I
I
could
don't want
see
to spoil it.
I could see it in your face because I like to see if I agree with you as I watch it. Because we have such different tastes, so that your score does not matter to my score.
How about let's wait until I break down my top 10. I don't want to give away
Oh,
anything.
yeah, but aren't all Best Pictures 9/10s?
No.
Hmm.
Are you kidding me? There have been some bad movies that have won
Okay.
Best Picture.
Oh, I did. I saw the if Amelia Perez were to win, based on the number of nominations, I think it had more nominations than Gone with the Wind or something like that, or Casablanca.
Well, there have only been three movies that have won more. They're all tied for 14 nominations. Two of the three won Best Picture.
And they were.
Let's see if I can remember. La La Land, which
Oh,
lost.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I think it was something like Titanic. And let me look up
I was
the other
thinking
one.
like Gone with the Wind, probably,
Most
or like
Oscar,
Citizen Kane or something.
which famously lost Best Picture, by the way.
Oh,
Let's see if. Oh, All About Eve, one of my favorite movies of all time.
ooh, I've never. What the heck is? Oh yeah, All About Eve. Okay, that's wild.
We'll have to talk later about movies that have actually won Best Picture.
Yeah, yeah, we'll say that for another day.
Because I have seen, I don't know if I mentioned this here, but I've seen every movie to win Best Picture
Since the beginning of the academies.
since the beginning of the Oscars. Yes.
Nice, nice. Okay,
Which will
cool.
remain the same because I've seen every movie nominated this year.
So at 13 nominations, Amelia Perez joins the likes of Oppenheimer and Forrest Gump.
Hmm.
That's cool. All right, all right. Let's get going.
So I'm going to break down all 10 just so that people have an idea heading into the Oscars what these movies are like. Maybe when I describe them, they think about whether it's worth watching or not. And I kind of want to hear your reactions too.
Well, okay.
Because,
So what? How about you say the title of the movie, and then I just have one sentence I'm gonna say about it, and then you go into your thing.
okay.
Okay.
So, number 10, what do you think my number 10 movie is?
Oh, cool. This is cool. I think your number 10 is A Complete Unknown. Bob Dylan.
Number 10 for me is The Substance.
Ooh, I like that. Okay, so The Substance.
And let me tell you why
Oh, hold on, hold on.
after your sentence.
The Substance, a body horror satire directed by Coralie Farragut.
Barget.
Farge. Oh wait,
Yes.
I could do that. Farge. Okay, go ahead.
So, this movie is number 10 for me solely because halfway through, I gotta say, if you're gonna watch this movie, don't watch it by yourself at night with headphones on. It will make you claustrophobic on top of it just being really stressful, like really stressful. I had a panic attack watching this movie. Like,
That's
like there
crazy.
was a moment like halfway through where I was like, wait, am I dying? Like, I need to get help. And then I just pass out and I wake up on the floor.
Really?
Yeah, my ears were like ringing for like 2 minutes as the blood rushed back into my head.
You literally, oh my gosh, that's wild.
Like
And
when I say I had a panic attack, I had a panic attack.
is it just because of the topic and then also the visuals? Because I heard it has a lot of horror elements from like the horror community that they loved in terms of when they compare it to Texas Chainsaw Massacre in terms of the quality of gore.
Well, you want to know why it stressed me out?
Yeah,
It
go
was
for it.
it was more like, first of all, I kind of have a stressful job. I was stressed out a little bit. That's number one. Number two, I think part of it's just like maybe like my ear fluids or whatever were just getting a little off balance.
Yeah.
And having the headphones on just doesn't help with that feeling of security.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, the real kicker was, oh gosh, I'm like, oh, it's getting to me right now just thinking about it. But it has to do with aging
Ooh,
in
something
addition
we
to
can all
like,
relate to.
right? Like, I don't want to spoil it too much, but
No, yeah,
like,
but like that whole idea of like mortality, like how it is like the only real truth in humanity
right.
is
Like that
death.
is a real thing for
Yeah,
something that's horror and made up,
yeah.
right? It's fictional. That's a very real thing. And what scares me is things that can speed up death. And
Whew.
you
Oh
just
yeah.
kind of
All right.
see
Yeah,
that.
you're tugging on your collar right now. I think we're gonna have to move on to number 9 before you pass out on me.
Okay, so before we do, I just want to say like it's horrifying, but then the very end it becomes like so obscure that I started laughing. Like that's the weird thing about this movie. It's kind of satirical. So I don't know, man. I don't yeah. So moving on. For me it's number 10 just because like I had a panic attack.
Okay.
So number 9. Can you guess?
Number 9, I am going to choose a complete unknown Bob
Again,
Dylan biopic.
again.
Yeah,
Why?
because I just don't think you're into it. You never showed any interest in it every time we talk about it.
Well, you're in for a shock because my number 9 movie, I don't know if it's just the peer pressure of me moving it down, but number 9 is Amelia Perez.
Oh my. Just 2 weeks ago, it was your dark horse to win it all.
That has
Wow.
nothing to do with my personal. Let me be clear. This is
Okay,
my
go ahead. Go
list,
ahead. Go
not
ahead. Okay, here we go. Hold on. Amelia Perez. Here we go. Amelia Perez leading with 13 nominations. The film is available on Netflix right now.
yeah, it's a Netflix movie. Now, this movie,
Wow.
I know we talked about it a lot. I think why it's number 10 is that I bet if I watched it a second time, it it wouldn't get to me as much as it did the first time.
Hmm.
I
That
think
would
there
make
are
sense.
moments in it though, like the song that got nominated for like in one for best song at the Golden Globes and will probably win the Oscar. I think is really good. And the reason why it's nominated is because part of the themes are talking about corruption, which even in America is something that is relatable
Mm-hmm.
to people. Like people hate corruption, people hate the rich that say one thing, do another, businesses that like put up a facade, like I don't know, fake human rights or like fake pop culture support for something. But
Yeah,
then,
my mom would say, you don't want to be plastic,
yeah,
like fake.
yeah. So I think we all believe and can agree that those kinds of people are out there. And so that's why the song resonates. Is that bad people can try to make up for evil by like putting money towards a good cause. And that's kind of what the song's about. But anyway, the reason why I have it this low is just because I think taking into account at the end of the day, why it was higher for me was sort of the shock value and the uniqueness of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
The more I think about it, the more I have questions kind of about the plot and like the value of maybe wanting to see it again. Because it's not like,
And that's part of it. That's part.
yeah, because it's not like there are so many switchbacks you could say on this trail that, you know, the longevity of it will not last. Because I do believe that from the political standpoint, which is why it's getting this much attention,
Yeah.
I do think that there will probably be a better movie that comes along that represents trans
What?
people in a
Yeah,
more
for
accurate
sure.
light.
For
Just
sure.
like how, I mean, Brokeback Mountain was a great movie, but
Dallas Buyers Club, right?
Brokeback Mountain,
Oh, and also that was that the one with Matthew McConaughey? Didn't he play? Oh no, he did not play. No, it was Jared Leto who played a
Jared
trans
Leto.
character. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was just talking about how like in 2005, people weren't ready for Brokeback Mountain to win.
Mm-hmm.
It took all the way until Moonlight for there to
Mm-hmm.
be a movie that talked about like homosexuality to win. I think for like trans rights, I don't think we're there yet for a trans
Yeah,
story.
yeah. It's a huge uh like I don't know, it's a huge concept and very complicated concept for like the majority of society. But yeah, you're right. It's just it will be the right time, the right moment, and maybe a better quality film to represent that movement.
Yeah, because if it wins the Oscar for Best Picture, I already know it's a lock for Best International Feature. If it wins Best Picture, it will divide the country and divide Hollywood. Like stuff will go down, movies might die. Like I am concerned about that just because of how unpopular it is.
Yeah.
But if you want to hate watch it, or maybe you think it might actually be interesting, um, you can watch it. I like the music, but again, gotta say that if you speak Spanish, prepare to be disappointed because from everything I heard from people that actually speak Spanish, it sounds like it French translated into Spanish through Google Translate.
And that's what I heard too. Yeah, I heard that actual Mexicans were very disappointed in how their culture or their language was used because it was like like it almost seems like a more Hollywood affected European flavor of Spanish.
Yeah, and if people look at it as like some kind of liberal kind of love project,
Hmm.
calling back to a movie that we talked about, American Fiction, the
Yes,
whole
yes,
point of that movie goes to paint a picture of how people on the left and the right can get the wrong message about what it means to be anti-racist.
yes.
So I think this movie's a good example of that because like everybody hates it.
Yeah.
So anyway, any other thoughts before I move on to number eight?
No, I just hope that Zoe Saldana wins Best Supporting Actress because I felt like she carried.
Did you watch the movie?
I did on Netflix.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm sorry. I know we want to move on, but what did you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was terrible. I'm more in like the middle when I watch these things. And don't get me wrong, I loved Brokeback Mountain. Like I went to the theater to watch Ang Lee's masterpiece. Uh,
Yeah,
but a movie was terrible. Like I thought the music was terrible. I thought the scenes where Zoe had musical parts, I thought those were great. And I felt like her character was just more interesting to me than actual.
right?
Yeah, I felt like
Right?
she should have been the story, like about how
Mm,
she had to manage all of this.
right. She felt like the
So,
main character for me.
but but we didn't direct the film and we didn't produce it, so they went with the whatever. And I also didn't understand towards the end where like
Is
like
it a spoiler? Should
oh
we
yeah,
say
you're right.
spoiler
I'm gonna
alert?
stop. I'll stop. Let's move on.
Yeah, okay. So next time you've seen a movie, you should let me know
Okay, for
if you've
sure, for
seen a
sure.
movie. Because like that could have been valuable dialogue.
Well, no, but they got it because mine was I didn't want to talk about it. I just thought it was terrible. But
No, that's valid. It's
I'm
it's
giving
important to get multiple
I'm
perspectives on
giving
these
my
movies.
flowers to my girl Zoe though.
Yeah,
Gamora killed it.
I think that is the universal thing that everyone agrees on is that
Got it.
Zoe
Yeah, no,
Saldana.
for sure. That's
Good job.
facts,
All right, so number eight. Do you want to guess?
dude. I'm not gonna guess.
Okay.
Give me number eight.
Number eight. Eight onwards is honestly really tough for me. I
Oh,
gotta
I like.
say.
That's very good. I
So
like that.
like,
Makes this a good conversation.
um, number eight for me is a movie that I saw this past week in the theater.
Okay.
Which keep in mind, it was very hard to find a showing of this movie
Okay.
before the release date because it's phasing out. But I
Yeah.
found
Uh
time in my busy schedule to see it. It's number eight is Nickel Boys.
huh. Ooh. Would you believe that I was going to guess that?
No.
Oh, dang it. It was either okay. Honestly, my guesses were going to be a complete unknown or Nickel Boys.
Okay. All right. Give me your one sentence about Nickel Boys.
All right. Well, this is a film that was adapted from Colson Whitehead's novel, and this film is currently showing in very small numbers of theaters right now.
Right.
Hard to find, like you just said.
Yeah, but just me knowing the producers, keep in mind Amazon MGMT Plus,
We'll pick it
you
up.
will
Yeah, or
you
they'll
will
stream it.
they will stream it like for sure. So Nickel Boys, yeah. I saw this with a friend, and my friend afterwards was like, you know, you gave me a synopsis, but it wasn't that good because, like, all I remember going into the movie, he told me, was that it was shot from the first person's perspective and that it was kind of artsy, like that kind of movie. He was like, I didn't know it had anything to do with race. I didn't know it was like based on historical things.
Hmm.
I didn't know it was taking place in the South. He's like, I knew none of that. I knew nothing about that. And it is a movie that it's annoying to put at number eight because I think the message behind it is impactful. You have a story about a friendship between two black boys that get sent to a reform school, and everything you witness them experiencing is just evil and wrong. And I don't want to get too much into it, but it just made me upset that this is
Ooh.
part of the history of America.
Oh, it is. I is it about slavery or is it about
This
a
happens in the 60s,
segregation?
segregation.
Yeah.
There are a
Yeah.
lot of I'll just mention there are a lot of shots and mentions to like civil rights movement, like important politicians during the 60s. Of course, the 60s was a big decade. Talks about
Huge.
landing on the moon
Uh-huh.
or just the space race.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it being set in the 60s is a big part of the theme and the context
Wow.
of this movie.
Yeah, I mean, slavery and racism is a big L for America, but I also believe that, like we also have we have to work our way out of it, and I don't think most countries have that issue to deal with like America does. It's probably why
Right.
like racism's always a hot button issue.
Yeah, for sure. And keep in mind the context. It was in the South and during
Hmm.
segregation. Even at the reform school, you got to see how they segregated the white boys from the boys of color. And it was very obvious because there was a kid who was mixed,
Yeah.
and they were like, they don't know where to put this kid. He's half Mexican.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, yeah,
That's like
that's
that's crazy that they had to come up like they had to decide on those things and they felt like it was warranted and moral to do so.
and don't we do that in our society too? Like, I feel like it breaks people's brains to look at to categorize people of mixed race
I think so too. And I
because it,
think
go ahead.
yeah, I just noticed that like if it's like mixed race, white or white with African American, it's almost always they lean towards the African American side. Because I
Yeah.
think that's the part that shows the more genetically.
Yeah, and yeah, it was interesting, like witnessing conversations about people who are like mixed or even like 100% African, and they're like talking about how like how come like you are darker than you, or like
Yeah, yeah,
they're
yeah.
like haha, you're more light skin. Like it's crazy to think about that.
I also think it's, like, I guess all you have to have is like a quarter so you can have the N-word pass, is what I heard.
Ah, stop.
No, I'm serious. So like
I don't know nothing about that,
I
to be
don't either,
honest.
but I heard that like
Yeah, but anyway, going back to the movie, it's it just kind of makes you think and wonder. It's also a reminder of just like how human beings can do horrible things.
no, for sure.
Like there are some horrible things done to some of these boys,
Yeah,
and
no, for sure.
it's worth knowing. Since it's based on a tree, I'll just mention this before we move on, that schools like that did exist. And a friend that I saw was like, honestly, that school was a prison. And I would say that going there in the 60s would have been worse than being in prison as a black person today.
Wow,
Like,
that's wild.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Uh
it's of note, but it's only number eight because number seven.
okay, so we have number 7, and then we have to take a little bit of a pause,
I do
and
need to
then
get some water.
yeah. So let's do number
Coming up
7.
soon. Yeah,
Yeah.
real quick. Number seven for me. Can you guess?
Number 7 is, gosh darn it. It's A Complete Unknown by Bob Dylan.
Ah, you're wrong again.
Dang it. Yeah, you're pushing. It's up there. Okay, okay. I like this because I love Bob Dylan. Okay, go ahead.
So, and it's worth noting that at SAG, Timothy Chalamet upset Adrian Brody for Best
Woo!
Actor.
Oh man. Over the Brutalist. Okay, go
Hmm.
ahead.
So this movie is our second film in a language that is not English.
Okay.
It is about a family in Brazil during the 70s. It, for those that don't know the history of Brazil, there was a dictatorship in charge, and there were some moves that were made in Brazil during that time where people would just go missing,
Hmm.
suspected of death. And that happens to the fatherhead of this family, former politician. People come in, they say, you have a history of being tied to, guess what ideology?
Nazi?
No, the other one, the opposite one,
Oh, Democracy?
communism. Close enough.
Oh, shoot.
So, since they say he had ties to communism, even though he was out of politics at this time,
So
they
wait.
said that was conspiring with communists, and that was seen by the dictator and the government at the time to be a threat. So they kidnapped him,
Did you say the name
essentially.
of the film?
I'm still here.
That's a deeply moving Portuguese language drama which follows the journey of a resilient woman navigating personal and societal struggles in modern day Portugal. Is it in Portugal?
Wait,
Is there, oh no, it's in oh, it's no, they speak Portuguese in Brazil.
yeah, it
Got it.
takes place in Brazil.
My notes are wrong. My bad.
Yeah, modern day Brazil. Well, so most of the film takes place during the 70s. And then I don't want to, well, it is based on a true story. Like this happened.
Yeah.
This is a real guy. Um, so it turns out he did die while he was in captivity.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't until I think the 90s that they got his death certificate
That's what.
when Brazil
Wow.
became a democracy again.
That's crazy. And isn't Fernanda Torres nominated for Best Actress for this one?
She is, and her mother plays an older version of her, and her daughter, I think her real life daughter, plays a grown up version of one of her kids.
That's wild.
So. Three
That's very
generations.
that's a very talented family.
Yeah. So it is only, I think, what makes it great is again, like Nickel Boys, it tells such a raw and a powerful story about what it's like to be in a dictatorship.
Yeah.
And same time though, it's like it felt like it was such a small like message. Like it's something that I could get in like 15 minutes versus needing to watch a whole like 2 hour movie.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it needed to be drawn out that long.
Yeah.
However, I won't deny that there are a lot of people that are big fans of it, and it is good
Well,
simply because of
she's
it.
beloved,
The
Fernanda.
actress, yeah,
Yeah, she's like an OG that like if you were anyone like a fan of film or show TV back then, you're this was like someone you were like a regular. It's like one of the regular stars.
yeah, for sure. All right, I gotta go get some water. When we come back, we'll be talking about my number 6 movie.
All right. See you in a little bit. Back
Hey,
at it like we never. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'll just wait.
I was just saying, hey, man,
Oh, okay. I was gonna
welcome
say
back.
back at it like we never left.
Except I did leave. I got some water. I'm very
Good.
thirsty.
Oh, I
It's a
got
good
water
thing.
too. Hydration is better than dehydration.
Mhm.
All right, let's go.
Right.
What are we at? 7?
Yeah, and I just want to say too, for I'm still here. I think if you're ever curious about the progression of what it might look like to be in a dictatorship, watch the movie. It'll make you mad. It'll make you sad. I was mad and sad after watching it. So,
Cool.
just something for those that are interested in social issues and want to take a look at what happens when the United States doesn't help fight dictatorships. Um,
Like the
yeah.
wave, the
Oh,
classic, the
that's
classic from the
domestic,
1980s.
that movie. Yeah. For those that don't know, The Wave is based on a true story, 100% real. This history teacher, this is a real tangent, but I'm going to dig into it because our audience has no idea what you're talking about. This high
Perfect.
school history teacher basically turned his classroom into like a fake Nazi regime, and he called the movement the Wave. So, yeah, not like that, but I think it's safe to say if there are people out there that are getting kidnapped or persecuted for being who they are, it's a red flag
Facts.
in any scenario. Okay, we are on
7.
number 6 now.
Oh, 6.
Guess what my number 6 movie is?
Oh, okay. It's going to be a complete unknown Bob Dylan biopic.
You are correct, finally.
Yes. Okay, now I can give that up now.
Wow,
Okay.
that
This
was
yeah, here we
10
go.
times the charm.
Okay, The Complete Unknown, directed by James Mangold. It's the
Mhm.
Bob Dylan biopic starring Timothy Chalamet as the iconic folk musician, tracing his early career in the 60s as he transitions from a struggling folk singer to a big-time superstar.
Right, and it's my number 6 movie simply because do you ever have like a piece of clothing where you're like, this isn't fancy, but it's not bad looking, so I'll just put it on and wear it, and it ends up becoming like one of your most worn items of clothing. You know what I'm talking about?
So like it just loses all like meaning.
No, it's like
It becomes part of like it just becomes your image, part of your image.
it's like it's like a go-to shirt. Like it's in the weekly rotation. Like you just have to wear it once a week, just because it's comfortable, it's practical, it's not too showy, so you don't guard it with your life. It's not
That
like a nice suit where you're like, oh my gosh, I can't get it dirty. But it's
yeah.
nice enough that you like wearing it. It
All
gets
right.
to the point where you wear it more and more.
Yeah, like hoodies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this movie is like a hoodie. It's not elite, but it's not bad. It's comfortable.
Hmm.
And it's comfortable because Timothy Chalamet's Bob Dylan is going to be a classic role and a classic portrayal.
It wouldn't be yeah, it's not going to be a surprise that he's going to kill it.
Yeah, and he may very well win the Oscar for Best Actor.
Well,
You never know.
it's funny though. It's like what when Bohemian Rhapsody when that was nominated for awards, I was like, I thought it was kind of I love Queen, don't get me wrong, but I also felt like the movie was kind of basic.
Hmm.
But the acting, if you really you focus on what's his face from Mr. Robot or whatever.
Oh,
Uh
Rami Malek,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, when you focus on his acting as Freddie Mercury and the way
right.
he his mannerisms and his vocals, I don't know, his voice singing and talking, you're like, dang, that's Freddie Mercury.
So what you're talking about is one of the different ways you can either A, look at a story, or B, look at life. It
Mm-hmm.
could either be plot driven or character driven.
Yeah.
And you could argue in some ways that life is more character driven than plot driven. It might not have a well thought out plot. It can take some weird turns because people are weird. And Bob Dylan is the epitome of weird as an artist.
Yeah.
He's a complete unknown. Nobody knows where he comes from.
Did Joaquin Phoenix win an Academy Award for Walk the Line as Johnny Cash? Because he did a singing there. Okay, it says here, yes, Joaquin has won an Academy Award for Best Actor for
Joker.
Joker, but then he was like nominated for supporting for Gladiator, Best Actor for Walk the Line, and Best Actor for The Master. The Master is also a hidden gem. I like that one too.
I haven't seen it. I
Oh, it's
should
so
watch
good.
it.
It's so good.
But
Okay, go ahead.
I gotta say, about a complete unknown. Remember how I talked about Monica Barbaro being
Mm.
really good in it too?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
When those two sing together, it's almost like with Walk the Line, which was directed by James Mangold as well. You
Uh,
just kind of want to go back to those interactions between the two characters
yeah, you want
because
more. Yeah, you want more of it.
it's so compelling, it's so warm, and it's real.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I definitely felt that with June Carter and Johnny Cash with like Reese Witherspoon and Joaquin. There was definitely a connection there. And it felt real.
Yeah. And fun fact is that in both movies, they both have a duet of the song "It Ain't Me,"
Hmm.
which is kind of telling about James Mangold. He must be in love with that era of music.
No, for sure, for sure.
It's
But
got to
I
be.
want him to keep doing it because he's doing a great
Yeah.
job. So keep
So
going.
I gotta say, it's not gonna win Best Picture, but it is definitely driven by the performances in the cast. And if you like music biopics in particular, there'll be scenes you'll be going back to. I can count on it.
Well, how often is it like that there was an actor that are in two Best Picture films? Like especially with Tim, and I'm sure Dune Part 2 is a strong candidate, you know?
Well, Sebastian Stan was nominated for two Golden Globes for acting,
Hmm. Okay.
and he won for one of them
Yeah.
this year. It was The Apprentice and A Different Man.
Ooh, okay, okay. So it's possible. I mean, it just increases your odds or it decreases them greatly because you're just
Yeah.
the go-to actor in the blockbuster sense.
Well, I think for him, because he is nominated for an Oscar
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
They just all picked a movie, and of course, because he's our president, they picked the one where he plays The Apprentice.
yeah.
Even though, from what I heard, his role, his acting in A Different Man was probably better.
Hmm.
Um, so anyway, that's a complete unknown. If you like Bob Dylan, you like good music.
Finally, we got that one finished. Okay, now we can move on with our lives. All right, number
Yeah.
5. Now
Uh,
we're crossing the border.
yeah, I just want to say that I need to take a quick break right now. So let's pause and come back.
Oh, okay.
It's emergency break.
Okay, okay.
Let's resume.
All right, back at it.
Sorry about that. I had
Technical
some technical
difficulties.
difficulties. Yeah, so we are on number five, the final five.
Ooh. All right, I want to guess. I want to guess. because I know it's not gonna. I think Conclave's in the top third of the number five list because of your hype earlier. So I'm gonna say number five is. I'm gonna say The Brutalist.
Okay, I will say that was impressive.
Yeah,
You got it right.
sweet. I just okay. Tell me about it. Oh wait, I'll tell you about it. Historical epic, directed by Brady Corbet or Corbett.
Corbet, good job.
Oh God! Oh sweet, directed by Brady Corbet, stars Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones in a sweeping narrative about an architect who flees post-war Europe and attempts to make a new life in America.
I will say Brady Corbet is the front runner for best director.
Okay,
Even if Conclave does sneak in and win, it has no shot at winning best director because it's between Corbet and Sean Baker for Honora, if that at all.
okay.
I think the film community has just rallied around how much work he put into this movie. I can't remember if he lost money making this, but it was a fight for The Brutalist to come out
Mm-hmm.
because he wanted to keep the director's cut. It's almost a 4 hour long movie, BDC.
Dang, but I
I had
mean,
to sit in the theater. There was a 15-minute intermission.
what an experience, though.
Yeah, for sure. And oh, just
Wh-
as a heads up, I think I saw all of these movies in the theater except for Amelia Perez and The Substance.
Nice.
So I
Keep
think 8 out of 10 I saw all of these in the theater.
keeping the cinema industry in business.
Absolutely. But yeah, it's a long movie and it is epic.
Is
It
it really like epic and they're like where you're like you're blown away or this is amazing like this like really grabs your attention and makes you get hyped and stuff like that? I don't know.
it's more the length because the casting is kind of small.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, it's like I think of really like five, no, like seven performances,
Mm-hmm.
like really that make up the cast for the majority of the movie. Like it's it's just epic because of the architecture.
Well,
It is
just
about a brutalist architect.
do they teach the audience about the architecture?
A little bit, I think most of it is just watching, gosh, it's like watching people do something that is just unfathomable that human beings can build something like that.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. That's cool though. That's always
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I think so. There's kind of epicness in that. It's also epic in that it's the American dream. You got a Holocaust survivor coming over uh, to start a new life in Pennsylvania, and he catches the attention of a wealthy man who wants to use his talents
Mm-hmm.
to create a vision
Yeah, just
of a
shake things up,
remarkable building.
shake things
Yeah,
up, change the norm,
and I gotta
challenge the
say,
norm.
this doesn't spoil the movie because to me, it's very clear that you have the push and the pull being Adrian Brody's character and Guy Pearce's character. Guy Pearce's character, it feels like, is manipulating or abusing. He's exploiting the talents. That's a better word. Exploiting the talents of Adrian Brody's character
Mm-hmm.
for his own benefit. Almost like Adrian Brody's his slave.
Oh, got it.
Because you just wonder, does Adrian Brody ever get treated the way he deserves to be treated throughout
Yeah,
that
like
movie?
you feel like there's an element of exploitation,
Yeah,
but it's like in the background, kind of like the how the old record moguls of the like 40s and 50s, and they would take the music from the black culture and like take royalties or not pay the singers as much because
I
they
just,
get.
yeah, I mean, or the history of this country and how we exploit laborers,
Oh
especially
yeah,
immigrants.
oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
And
Yeah,
it's just kind of unfortunate because he is the visionary for something that everybody adores and benefits from, but does he get the recognition that he deserves?
sure. Oh, that's okay. You should end it at that. That's a good way to end that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I like that.
very powerful, Felicity Jones.
Yeah.
Um, don't, it's a long movie, so don't be upset if certain people don't show up right away.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So,
And the thing is, we are capable of watching long movies. I mean, you got the Lord of the Rings,
yeah,
Schindler's List. I mean, as long as it's quality, and it's okay. If you need to use the bathroom, get up, just go.
yeah. This is definitely a movie that could win Best Picture, but I think after seeing it snubbed from, I think, SAG, I
Yeah,
don't remember if it was nominated or even nominated. You just think that it's going to be surpassed by some of the other ones, like
yeah,
Anora or Conclave, maybe even Amelia Perez
yeah,
could
for
end up
sure.
winning when it's all said and done. But
Okay, okay,
okay,
cool.
number four.
Okay, number four, my pick that I think you're going to say, and I know that you like this film. I'm choosing between two that I know you really like, but I know that you know that it's not going to win Best Picture. So, are you going with personal taste, or are you going with who you think is going to win?
Everything in this list is just my personal taste.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So then this next film that is number four is going to be Anora.
Correct again. Good job.
Yes. Okay. Anora is directed by Sean Baker. Honora is a raw and heartfelt drama set in Brooklyn that follows the life of a young exotic dancer who unexpectedly finds herself in a whirlwind romance with a wealthy Russian oligarch.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I was dating someone at the time that this
Wait, you
movie came out in theaters,
really?
and
Humana, humana.
I did not think that they would want to see this movie with me, and so I was probably right because the first thing you see is just nudity. Like
Oh,
it's the kind of messed up
huh.
where I saw this by myself.
So your date was like, uh,
She was busy. I didn't even bother to ask her because
oh,
it
okay,
was early in the relationship, and like
okay,
I see everything,
yeah,
including movies that make me pass out, like The Substance.
yeah, yeah.
Um, which gosh, the anyway, sorry, I'm thinking about it. There's just something that I anyway,
All right, so
this movie
tell me why you like
is
this one.
a movie that I actually kind of enjoyed. Yeah, I actually kind of liked it because like I didn't think that I would. I thought it would be too artsy for me because it won Best Picture at Cannes
Yeah,
or whatever. And I don't think a lot of people knew about it, or there are
yeah,
probably people listening that don't even know what this movie is.
yeah.
But it was like a fun ride. It's a fun ride.
It
It's
definitely looks like a fun ride. Uh, is it just almost like living someone's Instagram like live feed or something?
no, because it's just kind of a weird dark comedy too.
Yeah,
Like there are just some like there's one scene that is just like a comedy of errors,
yeah,
and the tone of the movie just makes you laugh, even though it's just like that is the epitome of human suffering right there.
yeah, for sure.
But it's funny, and it's not like it's gory or violent. It's not like a Parasite plot twist,
Yeah.
but it's like a love story, like a Cinderella story until it's not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, it's a very, very sexy film based on all the
Yeah,
advertisements.
it makes me think of Pretty Woman.
Yeah, but in a
Like
modern, like,
modern Pretty Woman and Pretty Woman's only the first half of the movie. Second half of the movie is more you come to grips with reality.
yeah. Whew.
And so that's all I'll say. Um, it's funny. Mikey Madison does a good
Hmm.
job. Um, if you can handle just like the strip club scenes and
Oh, I can
like,
definitely handle those.
well, honestly, like there's just some pretty graphic sex because she is a prostitute.
That should
She gets
be.
paid by this
Oh,
Russian oligarch,
ooh.
playboy,
Well, now I have
and
a reason to watch this film.
stop, please stop.
Okay,
So
now,
anyway, that is something that I will say, if you could definitely skip through all that stuff, still enjoy the movie.
now I like to respect the art that's
I'm
put.
just saying for our listeners, BDC, I'm
Oh,
trying
okay.
to
Oh,
broaden
okay.
people's horizons.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, yeah, I get
Yeah.
it. Okay, number three. Now this is where it gets tough because two of these movies you really like, and then one is like you're really hyped about. So now I got to figure out where they end on the top three. So if I can get three in, I think I could predict the next two. But if I miss number three, I'm done. I'm cooked.
Okay.
So the it's between Conclave, Dune Part Two, and Wicked,
Yeah,
and they're
correct. You just
very musical. And so I need to choose which one you're gonna put at three. I gotta base it on the hype. I don't know if the hype is going to overtake your love of Wicked, and Orivo's magical voice, or Dune because Dune Part Two is amazing. So if it's your personal list, I'm gonna make a guess and say that you think Conclave is better than Dune Part Two. So I'm gonna say Conclave is number three.
you're right.
Yeah.
It gets easier the closer we get to the
Yeah, but
top.
now I gotta guess. The next two is gonna be tough. But go ahead. Oh yeah, Conclave.
Okay.
Whoo. Conclave. We got it. Gripping thriller. A gripping thriller directed by Edward Berger. Conclave is an adaptation of Robert Harris's novel of the same name. The film takes place within the secretive world of Vatican as cardinals gather to select a new pope following the sudden death of the incumbent. Hey, so wait, wait, what else? He directed, or didn't he write like Silence of the Lamb? Robert
What?
Harris? Robert
The
Harris.
writer?
Yeah,
Are we
Robert,
talking about the
the
author?
author of the book.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
Robert Harris. He wrote Conclave. Oh, hold on. He wrote Munich. He
Munich
wrote
might be what you're thinking
he
of.
wrote Pompey, The Dictator. Hold on.
Why don't you just look up Silence of the Lambs author?
Oh, I don't want to because that would be too easy.
It
Yeah.
was Thomas Harris.
Ah, dang, I was so
It's the
close. But
wrong Harris.
that's okay. That's all right. Okay.
So
So tell me. I know there's a hype train with this one, a holy hype train.
I'm pretty sure you distracted yourself as you were reading the description. Do you want to finish reading the description?
Oh shoot. Yeah. Uh, Tensions rise as political maneuvering, personal ambition, and hidden secrets threaten to upend the sacred process. Featuring a stellar ensemble cast and an atmosphere of suspense, Conclave offers a fascinating look at power and faith. It's kind of crazy because that's cool because that was a big issue back in like historically, but like the fact
Yeah.
that we have these issues present day, that's very interesting.
Yeah, I will say the tone is a really weird combination of things because it is a movie that is PG. This could
What?
be a PG movie that
What?
may very well win Best Picture.
What? So it's like the same as like Star Wars: A New Hope. That's for rated PG. Oh, I guess uh there was some death in that movie.
You have death in Disney movies, they're still PG.
Yeah, yeah,
Simba. No,
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my God.
Um,
Oh, that was cringe. You are.
Long live the king. No. Anyway,
Okay.
Lion King, for those that don't know. But this movie, like, it just, I think why it's not high enough is that you would expect a movie that is so intense with so much deception. There would be like some I know some language involved. Maybe
Yeah,
they'd be wearing black, but I mean, they're all wearing red. It's kind of a bright atmosphere.
yeah,
So it's a little weird and off-putting for me. And I don't know, like, yes, the people in there have a facade, like a political facade
yeah,
for like trying to become Pope and like the power maneuvers, but they
yeah.
still keep it PG. Like it's weirdly impressive.
Well, because I mean, if you're Christian and part of the faith, you're not cursing up a storm or like, right? Like it's just
Right.
you're being very appropriate.
Unless you're like that one guy from Million Dollar Baby
Oh,
who's like cussing at Clint Eastwood's
oh
character.
yeah, 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 yeah. That was funny. Okay, well
But
that's
yeah,
they look it looks like a baller movie, and I just looked up PG movies from like this year, and that includes Despicable Me 4, uh, Piece by Piece featuring Pharrell Williams, If, and Transformers 1,
yeah,
and that you just add Conclave to that.
yeah.
That's
But
funny.
I mean, the opening scene, I'm like, gosh, I'm getting stressed out right now. I don't know if I could finish it.
Oh, dude,
It
yeah,
was
that's
just
awesome.
like,
Dude, that's awesome.
it was good. And I think there is a bit of a twist that I think for those that aren't familiar with the Catholic faith in particular, they're like, why is this a big deal? But I think what makes it so striking is just the subtlety of like its political messaging.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't scream it from the rooftops. It's just more, I mean, it is open about how like the like Ray Fiennes group is more of the liberal
Mm-hmm.
popes or not popes, liberal cardinals, and they don't want like the super conservatives to totally change the direction of the papacy and the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is kind of this political back and forth. But of course, even within those groups, you have factions, right? People
Oh
that are
yeah.
competing for power on their own.
It's almost like a hyper social, hyper political in like this, like what do you call it? Like a what do you call it when a microcosm of
Yeah.
politics in general, but like we're in one church or in one city. It looks like it's streaming for free on Peacock. So that's
Yeah. That's how my parents watched
I'm
it.
gonna hit it up. Gonna hit it up for sure.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. I don't know. For me, I just wish there was a little more of a glimpse of like where you see them forget where they are and like forget that they're Cardinals for a second, but maybe that would just kind of take away from
Yeah.
the power and the message of it.
Yeah.
So it's unique. I'll give it that. A unique type of political religious thriller, and I would say it's worth a watch. My parents loved it. My
Awesome.
mom especially liked it.
Awesome.
She was like when I was talking about Anora being my pick for Best Picture, she was like, I don't know, I like Conclave. Or like even when I talk about my top two, she's like, I don't know, I like Conclave.
Ooh.
So
Ooh, okay, okay. It's
just
cool.
saying that it could be of the 10, the best.
Cool.
So it's
Don't be
worth a
shocked.
watch.
Like, don't be shocked if it wins Best Picture, but oof.
It'll be an enjoyable movie. I mean,
Yeah.
the the purpose of this is not for our audiences to know what's going to win. The purpose is to tell you what's worth watching, what's not worth watching. And
Yeah.
it's got my seal of approval. I think it's fascinating for everyone.
Yeah. The visually too is striking. All the like strong reds and blacks and like
Hmm.
the color palette for the film is just
Yeah, there's a vicious vape hit in it that I can't stop thinking about.
oh, okay,
Like,
okay. Hey, no, so I'll watch it. Don't worry. We'll talk about it next.
okay, number two,
Okay, number two.
top
So
two.
now, okay, so I gotta make this quick because I know you like Wicked and I know you like Dune Part Two, but I am gonna say that ooh, the reason why Wicked would not be number one for you is because it still has a part two. So I'm gonna say Wicked is number two.
Interesting reasoning, but you are correct.
Ah, tell me why it's number two for you.
So it's a movie I saw in the theaters, saw it with my family, and part of it was something I was familiar with before, and ah, I was concerned about the hype I was reading about it actually being a good movie musical because we haven't had a lot of those recently.
Yeah.
Like I've been concerned about that genre of movie dying for a bit now,
Yeah.
and it was something that was divided into two parts, which I don't think was necessary, but by gosh, dang,
Yeah.
like they can opening number, Ariana Grande hits a note that dogs could hear on the opposite side of the world.
Yeah.
Like kaboom.
Yeah.
So and Cynthia Erivo too does a nice job. The reason why it's not number one, gosh, Jonathan Bailey as Prince Fiero too. Like I haven't seen Bridgerton. Apparently he's from that, but he does a pretty good job. Is
Wow.
that there's some epic dancing that his character does in particular.
Yeah.
I think the graphics were great. Like the flying monkeys were cool. It wasn't cringy CGI. It made sense because it's a fictional world of
Yeah.
Oz to have all that stuff. And the story is just a good story. Like I know you probably haven't seen it still,
No,
BDC.
I will see it. I was just I'm gonna wait, I got a couple on my queue right now. And I think Conclave will be the next, but I'm a big fan of musicals. We discussed this in a previous podcast, like, and then we really did go into detail on the whole, like the story of Wicked.
Yeah.
I had a ton of questions, but no, I expect to watch it. Don't Yeah, so
And think because you're confused about why it exists, that's part of the main message and why I think it's so good and compelling
mm-hmm,
is just that the line of truth and lie just kind of being a little blurry for people
sure.
and how messaging matters. It's just, I think, a relevant message and moral at
Yeah.
any given time. So for me, that mixed with just some really powerful singing, it should be number one, but it's not because I took issue with some changes to the soundtrack.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
just it was more of the production I had issues with
Yeah.
that were not aligned with the OG soundtrack.
Yeah.
I liked some of the instrumentation from the original, and they left some of it out. So it was mostly the musical choices more
Sure.
than anything else
But
on that side.
well, once you see part two, maybe it'll make more sense, right?
No, it has nothing to do with it being part of the story. It's a choice for producing a song.
Yeah.
So, and that is there's no reason for it, in my opinion. No reason.
Yeah. All right. So now the grand finale, Dune 2. Man, I know you love this movie, but I did not expect it until I still started feeling out the list. But yes, now tell me why Dune Part 2, the sequel to the epic science fiction saga featuring our favorite actor, I guess, of recent times, Timothy Chalamet, I mean. Tell me why. Why is that your number one?
This is a movie that would easily be in my top 25 movies of film that came out this century.
Wow.
It
Wow.
is
That's huge.
a, a year defining film.
Okay, so yeah, so tell me what about it makes it that defining to you? Like what about it makes it into your top 25, like all killer no filler type stuff.
Well, first of all, my experience of the theater, I saw it at biggest screen I could. The sound was so loud at times that my seat was vibrating. I
Uh-huh.
just felt like I was there. And there are not a lot of movies where that matters more to the experience than a movie like that.
Hmm.
That is science fiction and just the sandworms and just the ground shaking. It
Yeah.
just totally immerses yourself into this world of kind of magic and technology, innovation and prophecy and destiny and like all of the things that make for a compelling story, all the tropes.
Yeah.
But this one is interesting to me because of how it talks about the chosen one storyline.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to get too into it, but there are just some nuances and holes that this movie pokes into this idea
Mm-hmm.
of uh well, the next one's going to be called Dune Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
What is a Messiah? And is Paul Atreides a savior on top of being a prophet? That is a question that is worth asking.
That's awesome. That's like your version of my youth when I had in the 80s when I had the Star Wars trilogy. The the original trilogy, the 4, 5, 6. And I felt like that was my era and just going from Luke losing and finding out Darth was his father and
Spoiler
then
alert.
oh come on. If they haven't watched no one's watching Star Wars nowadays anyway since Disney messed it up. But and then just come around to being a badass Jedi, facing his dad, saving his friends. All is so cool. Like that was my Paul Atreides. Luke Skywalker was my Paul Atreides.
Well, I would argue, and this might be a little bit of spoiler, Luke Skywalker and Paul Atreides are not the same kind of person.
I know from the books. So yes, I know where you're heading with this, but I'm excited. I'm excited how they portray it in the third film.
I'm excited to see how they finish it off, but as a standalone,
Hmm.
I think it's perfect what they show.
Oof, oof, oof.
Like I don't throw that word out a lot, and it might be 9.9 out of 10 for me, but it's really good. And the more I think about it, the more I'm like, did I really watch anything better than that movie last year?
All right,
No.
give me an analogy of Dune Part 2 versus Gladiator 2.
An analogy?
Yeah, like let's say if it's Mike Tyson boxing someone and Mike Tyson
I
is
don't know
Dune.
boxers. I think did you watch the Super Bowl?
Yes.
Philadelphia Eagles, Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay, got it. I see. I thought you were gonna say something like, I guess an analogy would be like Mike Tyson punching into a crib and punching a baby in the face.
No. I think Super Bowl 59 is good enough metaphor.
Ugh. You know, as we're wrapping up, I've been listening to that on Spotify. They have the full live performance of Kendrick Lamar spot. I listened to like 5 or 6 times in the
I
last
can't
three
get
days.
enough of that on YouTube.
Oh, it's so
Do you ever watch like it
love
being
it.
dubbed over? Like
Oh yes, yes, all the little dances. And then
my favorite.
I saw
Oh,
one with like Full House with like Stephanie was dancing in the living room, and I was like, what?
my favorite is the one like have you seen Phineas and Ferb? You know
Oh
Doofenshmirtz?
yeah, 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 yeah.
My favorite is like when he's like singing like the Platypus Control Me disc one, and it's like Kendrick dubbed over. It's so perfect.
Oh, I saw another one. It was from the like a new adaptation of Matilda.
Oh yeah, I just saw that one.
That's so
Which,
good.
by the way, not a bad movie.
No,
Four out of
no.
five stars.
You
Eight
know,
out of 10
the
for me.
OG Matilda is one of my favorites. So,
Yeah, for sure. All right, so as I wrap up, what do you think your thoughts are on these movies? Like,
I think
what do you want to see?
I want to see. Uh, so I got a minute left here. I actually want to see. I want to see a shocker win for picture. I want the controversy. So I want Amelia Perez to win just to see what happens.
No, I meant what movies do you personally want to see?
Oh
Like,
no, I know. I want to see the Brutalist, Complete Unknown, Conclave easily. I've already seen Dune Part 2, and I've already seen Amelia Perez. Um, I do want to see Substance, but it just creeps me out a little bit. But that's that. I don't know. We'll save that for another day. We'll talk more about this in another episode.
yeah.
I want a clean finish in this last minute, so it's better for my editing.
Yeah, well, that's pretty clean. I'd say it was a pleasure talking with you. See you post Oscars.